Welcome to KNOW JOE Hobbies here in Spring, Texas. This is a quick video about these Nitro engines and what happens to them when they're stored for a while. So there's a real thick oil that is in the nitro fuel, and what happens is it dries out. You can feel the oil on your hands when you feel the fuel, and of course if you've ran any of the nitro motors, then you know that it gets all over the side of your planes and will make your covering and everything come off. So what happens when you get a nitro motor that won't turn? So if you buy an old plane or an old motor, even brand new motors that have been sitting for some time on the shelf, you'll pull them out and the thing doesn't want to turn. It feels like it's completely frozen up. And we always think, you know, when you have a motor that won't turn, well, that thing's done. It's over with, and you can't be further from the truth. So the best thing to get a motor freed up is the hair of the dog, okay? Nitro fuel is the best thing in the world that I've found so far that will liquefy the hardened and dried out oils that are in the motor. So the worst thing that you can do is force this motor to turn. Number one, if you've got a ring in there, it'll break the ring, or possibly could, and scratch the cylinder walls inside. Number two, if it has no ring and you try to turn it, then you can just scratch these big long gouges in the cylinder wall, and the motor may still run, but it's going to have blow by, leak by, and you're going to lose a lot of compression, and you'll damage the motor, and it's irreversible. So what do you do if you've got one that's locked up? If you can't turn it by hand, even if you can, you always want to put a little oil in there or whatever before you try to turn it. Okay, and we got a little oil in there, and this thing's just not going to turn, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get over here on the vise, and there's a few ways that you can do this. This is the quickest, fastest, and easiest way that I've found. Get it in there tight where it's not going to skip around on you, and then you want to take some nitro fuel, and you want to put a little bit of that nitro fuel in there.
Oh.
Pull your plug out.
Oh.
Now, I should have probably done it over here first so it didn't spill all over the table. Put you a little bit on top of that piston. Okay, put a little bit in the carburetor.
Oh.
Put you a little bit in here.
Oh.
And then get your heat gun out.
Ooh.
If you have any rubbers or plastics that are on the carburetor, you want to try to keep the heat from being directly on that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to heat the case up, the rod, the piston head, and all that. And what you're doing is you're taking that gummy oil and you're liquefying it, okay? So this motor would not turn. And now I've had this on here for, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds. And look at what's going on here already. Okay, now that fuel that I had in there is now sucked down in the motor. Okay, and there, the motor's free and turning freely. Okay, so at this point, what you want to do is you want to get, this is what they call after run oil. Okay, you can pay a bunch of money for this stuff. I don't know, $6, $7, $5, $8, $10. I don't know what it costs because I never buy it. I just keep my old bottles. Get you an old thing of transmission fluid that you got sitting in the shop, and you want to mix that about 60-40 with that and Marble Mystery Oil. You want it to be a detergent transmission. It works better, but any transmission fluid will work. It doesn't matter if it's Ford, GM, or Chrysler. But you want to put a little bit, not a whole bunch. Okay, and turn that over. Let that oil get in there. And then you want to get right here on the carb and put it in there, and then turn it over, and it'll suck that oil down in there in the bottom, okay? So the oil that you put up here is going to stay on top of the motor. The oil that you put in here is going to get down here in the crank bearings and rod bearings and everything. And now this thing is just as free as it was the day it was built, okay? I think that pretty much clears it up. The reason I'm making this is because we're getting ready to sell a bunch of engines, and sometimes we will free these things up, and by the time they get to you, because we don't start them and run them, we don't start and run all of them, it might be stiff again. Okay, and this is the process that you do. And from now on, if you ever run into a nitro motor that seems like it's locked up, chances are it just got put away the wrong way, or it's been sitting with the build oil in it if it's a brand new engine. I think that's all I got for you. If you have any questions, send us a message and we'll be glad to help.